you have fun at the weekend?
We had a very, very good win. It was a great day for the team and for the club, and that's our job. We're here to serve the supporters and the club, and it's always a great way when you can beat one of your main rivals. So yeah, a very important, significant win for us, and puts us in a really good place.
What did it have to take? We know it's hard work and training, but what about the mental side of it from your perspective and the players? How did you prepare the players for this run-in?
It's not just much. It starts a number of months back. I think that I think it's safe to say the first 6 months was awkward. It was a little awkward in so many ways, with so many things happening on and off the pitch. But we stayed very unified and concentrated on our work and the process of how we work, knowing that we just keep chipping away, and then hopefully we get into this part of the season, which we're all excited about, to perform, and that's what the team have done. So it's just a constant. It's a day-to-day thing. It's an environment that's created. It's a standard that we set, and it takes really, really players that are humble. That and it's the one thing I say right up until this point, is that there's a lot of glory and a lot of focus on the players that have been playing, and over the run, this last period of time, they've been fantastic. But I can also pay tribute to the players and recognise the achievements of the players that haven't been playing and haven't even sometimes been in the squad. You know, my recognition and acknowledgement to them is equally as proud as the players that are playing and doing well, because how they've conducted themselves, how they train every single day, that allows for the sessions to be at the very highest level. If we had players that weren't happy, clearly every player wants to play, but there's a way to behave when you're not playing. And these guys, a lot of them have been absolutely magnificent, and that as a coach gives you great pride to see that, because it's not easy. Not easy if you're not playing. So our preparation right the way through, the standards that the players have set, that has never wavered, even when it has been a challenge. But they get the rewards now, and of course, like I said, after the weekend, we're nearly there, and we've really got an exciting 3 games left to finish the season strong.
How much are you looking forward to tomorrow night, and what possibilities it could bring?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the game. We respect it'll be a tough game for us. Derek's done a fantastic job there with Kilmarnock, and we haven't been great there in the 2 games, but we've had a half where we were comfortable in the game, and then we concede a couple of poor goals and end up losing the game 2-1. But we're ready for a tough game, and against a team that are very effective, very well coached, very well organised, got experienced players. So we have to be ready for the duels, but then we have to be ready to play our football, and that's what we've been preparing for.
You could go into that game already as champions, just depending on what happens in tonight's game. Is that a game you're going to have a keen eye on? You're going to sit down and watch?
Not really, no. I'll watch Tottenham Man City. And obviously once we have finished our work here, and yeah, I'll watch probably that game, and I think our only focus is on ourselves, so our only focus is preparing for the game tomorrow, and out with that we can't control anything else.
Is it the type of thing you'd rather clinch on the pitch and do it yourselves, or does it not really matter how you win league titles, really?
For me, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's obviously some people would prefer to win it there, and then you have the celebration. For me, it's just about collating the points over the season, and then when it's mathematically rubber stamped, then you take that.
It's been a long season, Brendan. I think plenty of twists and turns in the title race or whatnot. Should this one go over the line, where would it sit with you personally?
Well, from a personal level, you're right, it has been a challenge, but I'm reluctant to speak on it because we haven't done anything. As of yet, we haven't achieved what we've put ourselves in a brilliant position, and I know everyone anticipates what may happen, but once it does, I can then probably reflect a wee bit more openly and longer with you. But until then, I'd be silly to focus anything other than the performance and winning.
Can I also just ask, in terms of improving and continuing to grow, how much have you looked towards what this club needs to do next? Should, the money that comes with winning this title and everything else it brings, how far down the road do you feel you are with the improvements and continuing the growth of the squad?
Well, we have to. That's pretty clear. But I'm really excited about that, moving forward into a real bright future with the club. This season has been a real challenge. The squad's openly not as strong as what I would have liked it to have been, but what the players have given me until this point has been absolutely brilliant. But our job going forward next year is to be stronger, much stronger, and but that's something that's well underway.
There's been quite a bit of speculation about Matt O'Reilly and big clubs potentially being interested in him. It happened in January as well. Is that something that there's going to have to be serious consideration about over the summer, especially with what happened in the January transfer window?
No, not at all. We don't have to sell. We're not in a position to do that. But of course, if there's something comes in, then like it happens at Celtic, it'll always be looked at. But there's not a need to sell. Matt's had an absolutely brilliant season for us, and it's a great testament to his professionalism and how he's developed as a football player. And then naturally those players will attract attention. If you've done well and you've done well at a club with this status and pressure, then naturally the attention will come. But it's not something I lose sleep about.
Alistair Johnson was talking about the experience that the players that have won titles before bring to the squad. How much an influence do you think James Forrest has been in the recent run of matches? Obviously bringing hopefully the title to Celtic Park.
Well, I think just on the performances alone, I think he's been hugely influential. But it's not just in the games. James's influence in training is first class. He sets a great standard, as does the likes of Callum. These are guys that have been here and done it over many years. The humility that they have and how they set those standards on a day-to-day basis and how they manage the changing room is so impressive. So, but James has been outstanding since he's come in. Like I say, he maybe didn't play so much as what he'd have liked in the last numbers of years, and I come in knowing how brilliant he was for me, but thinking, right, he's going to be a cover player for us, and there's a new generation of players to come in. But the reality is, and I said this a few months back openly, and that I could still see he was our best winger, and that's no detriment to the other guys. This is a guy who's top player, okay, and he's getting a bit older in age, and maybe the pressing and intensity and all that sort of stuff, maybe not where I would want it to be a lot of the time. But what you can never deny is how effective he can still be in a game, and I just felt then we're getting to that stage where I need to put players in that I know are going to be consistent. I know what I'm going to get. So I know what I'm going to get from James. I see it on a daily basis, and he's done it for me often enough over many games.
And sorry, given the physical workload that would be involved, would you be supportive if James went to the Euros this summer? Because it's now a debate and not without reason.
100%. I think that there's no doubt, and listen, Steve will have in his mind what he's what players he would want and what he would want to bring. But there's no doubt that James, and you see him in the games and the effectiveness that he has, whether it's to play for a period of the game or come into the game and make an influence, I don't think there's any doubt that he could still do that, and he's proven that over this last little period.
But when you talk about the improvements to the squad in the summer, do you envisage doing business early? The sooner the better, or is it too much of a...
Yeah, I think every coach and manager would want to be able to do that. There's definitely certain positions we would want to have finalised sooner rather than later, for sure. But But yeah, ideally, if we can do that, be great. But I think what is really important for us this summer is getting the level of quality that I want into the squad. That will be absolutely key for the growth of this team. I think the guys, like as I said, this season have been absolutely fantastic. But next season we need more depth, in the squad. And again, I go back to a little bit to my past here, where, I was making changes, going away to Ross County, making like 8 changes, and I was bringing into that team Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Christie, these guys that have shown that they're Premier League quality. I remember going away taking a team to Dubai, our training camp, and the second team, and this was a proper game, the second team beat the starters 5-0. And that gave me great food for thought then when I came back for the second part of the season. So, and it was a proper football game. So that told me then the depth that is required, and I think that's something that is definitely required here, because we probably lost a bit of that in the summer, and but there's no doubt we will need to restructure that going forward. But as I said, we've got some fantastic players here, and we want to add to that.
Do you feel from talking to Michael and the people behind the scenes, friends, that you're all on the same page with regards to that?
Yeah, 100%. That's as I said, every season has to be a learning season on and off the pitch, and I've gained nothing but support from Michael and the people here. But going forward, the football strategy we need to ensure is very much there in terms of what it is we want to bring in, and like I said, it's not about numbers. It's about increasing the quality of the squad. But that's for later on. But we still have a massive job to do over the next 3 games.
Alistair Johnston, he came in, he seems to be okay, thankfully. We were sort of surprised by the furore over that situation and tackle on the weekend there.
Well, listen, I think in the modern game, it's everything gets analysed now, doesn't it? So, the John's tackle was just slightly mistimed. He catches him high. Unfortunately, and for him in the modern game where there's VAR and everything else, it's easy to get sent off, and obviously if that happens in an iconic game, then of course it will be out there. But thankfully he wasn't badly injured. He struggled in the game after it and then had to come off, but he's recovered well and he's available for tomorrow.
Brendan, with regards to the game tomorrow night, there's a sort of symmetry here, because towards the end of your first period, you went to Rugby Park, Scott Brown scored the goal, fans sang a song about it, and then, I think that put Celtic 8 points clear, if I'm right, at that particular point in the season. It more or less ensured that the league title would be secured. And here you are, second spell, going back to Rugby Park with a chance to take it over and put it over the line. Is there a sort of symmetry to that? Is it ironic that you're almost going back to where you left off in a way 5 years ago?
You could put it like that. I never really thought of that. I think it's the place I know where Celtic has won the league 4 times out with Celtic Park, so our aim is to make it 5, and if we can do that, then we'll all be really happy. But at the very moment, Keith, I'm just concentrating on a really tough game against a really well organised coach team, and who have done brilliant this season themselves. To go from where they've come and now to have European football. So that is the only concentration, as opposed to the past.
That night when Scott Brown scored that goal, that was a massive moment in that season, wasn't it?
It was a big moment.
It felt like it was not a turning point, but a confirmation point.
Well, it was definitely a tough game that we knew that we had to keep the pressure on and to win, and of course we kept knocking on the door, but then to eventually get through and get the win was significant again, and you do look back at the end of the season and see certain games that have more significance than others, but that was certainly one of them at that time.
Brendan, you once spoke about the Holy Trinity and the bond between the players, the manager and the supporters. That seems to be back as strong as ever. the last couple of games, and how important is that for you?
I think for everyone, not just so much me. Listen, I mentioned it earlier, it's probably been a wee bit awkward in the first 6 months, and maybe even now for still some supporters. They may never be able to shake off that feeling, and I respect that and I understand that. But for me, and I'll deal with that the best I can. But what I will do is keep looking to move forward, and our best way to do that is with everyone together, and we've seen that over the last, in particular these last 3 months or so. Everyone, that unity. You know, we've had periods in the season where we haven't had supporters in, the stadium's been quiet, and for me that's not Celtic. Celtic is very much that unification of supporters and players and manager all for the one cause, and when that comes together, we've seen it so many times over so many years, and we've seen it again this year, that when it comes together, it's such a symbol of strength. So yeah, our plan and hopefully our motion going forward is to stay that way.
Brendan, how are you fitness-wise after the weekend? And in the past, you've maybe not played guys that might not have been 100% on an artificial pitch. Will you be going strong tomorrow night, given what's at stake?
Well, we always go strong. It's just managing and looking at the risk, really. So, but we'll be. I'm pretty sure we'll be strong tomorrow night.
And no injuries or knocks out the weekend?
No, we had Yang just had a slight issue with his foot, but everyone's come out looking fit, looking strong, trained well, and ready for tomorrow.
Actually, with Derek McInnes, you mentioned he's done a great job. Obviously, he's doing what he did with Kilmarnock, with Aberdeen before as well. You feel that he's kind of one of the best managers you've come up against in Scotland when you've been here?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. He's an excellent manager, got great experience, knows what he wants from his team. You've seen the fantastic job that he did at Aberdeen, and as I said, everything that he did there, you know, bringing them to European football, challenging for trophies, making them super competitive. And it's arguably that they've never been the same since he left. You know, that was the stability that he gave them and the great working relationship he had there with Stuart. He's obviously come away, and now it looks like he's found that again with Kilmarnock, with an owner that really trusts him and backs him. Great job to get out of the Championship, stabilised in the first year, and then able to then build on that. And they've been very, very good. And as I said, I'm not surprised by it, because I know Derek and I know he's level, and I think he's done a brilliant job. And whatever plaudits he gets, he thoroughly deserves that, because he, as I said, he's very much given great value to his work.
But Brendan, Hibernian have parted company with their manager today, and Derek's been installed as one of the favourites to take over. Are you surprised, given his experience and his ability and what he's achieved, that he's never managed at a higher level in Scotland? Never managed at a higher level down in England, and nobody down there's had a look at him?
Yeah, I think I've said that before. It's sometimes, as I said, that he'd obviously had a couple of little spells down there that maybe or certainly at Bristol City early on in his career. But I think what Derek has shown is, over his body of work over many years, that he's an excellent manager. And I think I would always speak very highly of him if I was ever asked about him for any position. And I'm pretty sure that will come. He's still young. He's still got a lot of years left as a manager. He still has the hunger, and I've got no doubt that he will get that opportunity. He seems very happy in Kilmarnock, the job he's doing. He's clearly, like I say, he's got good relations there with his owner, and close to home as well, which at this stage of your life as well, all these factors come into it. But But I've got no doubt he will probably get other opportunities to manage at a higher level.